Today's questionable 90s Apple design choices are brought to you by Noom. But more on that in a bit. Holy spicy spindler, I got a TAM! And if you've been around the channel for a while, you probably know that we're going to keep this thing bone stock. Stick around as we restore and upgrade the bejeezus out of this weird relic of the dark days of late 90s Apple. And then we'll see what it's capable of in 2022. So stay tuned. And if you enjoy marveling at obsolete technology that teeters on the brink of madness and magnificence, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. We terrorize a lot of rare and obscure computers around here, so it's definitely worth sticking around. Oh man, the tale of the TAM is a weird one. From a floundering late 90s Apple, it's equal parts desperation, hubris, and incredible artistic vision. You see, in 1996, Apple decided to release a special computer to commemorate Apple's 20th anniversary. It had to be a special computer, beautiful, futuristic, a consumer Macintosh unlike any ever seen before, and it had to be made in just a couple of months. And the designers and engineers at Apple, almost in unison, said, "Oh crap, we really don't have enough time to figure something like that out." Or, as the story actually goes, they went deep into their dream design books and picked out the most promising and reasonable candidate, an all-in-one LCD-based Mac that was really the successor of the original compact Macs, and one that they could finagle out of existing components. For example, by absolutely raiding their PowerBook line. Actually, not a bad idea given the unreasonably short lead time they were given. And so, the 20th anniversary Mac was released in early 1997, right around the 20th anniversary of Apple's incorporation on January 3rd, 1977. So, what's in a 20th anniversary Mac? Well, it was a decently capable PowerPC 603E running at 250 MHz. It shipped with 32 megs of RAM, upgradable to a respectable 128. The lovely 12-inch color TFT LCD display ran at 800 by 600, and well, it is straight out of this PowerBook 3400. Literally, this same exact display is directly swappable with the TAM, which might come in handy later. The Rage 128 ATI video chipset, straight out of this PowerBook. This goofy keyboard and trackpad combination, it's literally the keyboard and trackpad out of this laptop. The motherboard? Well, that's out of a PowerMac 6500. All of this hodgepodge crammed into a wild and futuristic case with a killer Bose sound system. Yeah, not only does it have these two nice built-in speakers, but the power supply base unit thing is also a subwoofer. And just look at this chunktastic connector that goes between the system and the base unit. Now that's proper. Unfortunately, when the TAM was released to the market, it flopped. In fact, the story goes that Steve Jobs was presented a TAM on stage during the 20th anniversary celebrations, but after the show, that TAM was discovered discarded by the trash near the exit. I guess Steve didn't find this thing very TAM-tastic. TAM-tastic? Who's writing these puns? Anyway, when Steve Jobs returned to Apple, the TAM was nixed. But fortunately, he didn't fire the gutsy designer behind it. Believe it or not, a young Johnny Ive, who of course went on to design a few more visionary products, like the translucent case of the original iconic G3 iMac, which, come to think of it, is almost like a TAM with a CRT, and a much better price tag. Okay, so the goal here is to fix up the flaws on this TAM, such as the discolored screen, and yeah, the CD-ROM drive isn't that happy, and there's probably some other things we'll find. And then we're gonna make this the world's most modded TAM. Reversibly modded, of course. And to that end, I have a ton of really cool upgrades and mods that we're going to toss into this thing and experiment with. Right after a quick word about today's sponsor, noom.com/actionretro. Usually when I choose sponsors for these videos, I try to pick ones that are relevant to IT or electronics specifically. But sometimes I pick one because I'm really interested in it. For me, Noom is a digital health platform centered around you, me, and your health goals. And I was really interested in its ultra-personalized approach to setting realistic goals. Noom is way more than a calorie counter or fitness tracker. It's basically a you tracker. It tracks your habits and your relationship to food and exercise. Now, I've only been using the platform for a few weeks now, but the most interesting result I've seen so far is thanks to the pop quizzes and the articles and the tracking, I'm much more critical about what I choose to eat. So click on the link below or go to noom.com/actionretro to take your free Noom evaluation. Okay, let me show you some of the stuff that I want to do to this machine. First off, well, the screen is all messed up. Fortunately, I have this PowerBook 3400C, which is helpfully labeled, "No boot, only screams." But I'm pretty sure this LCD is good. Then on the functionality side, the CD-ROM doesn't work. Now, the biggest cosmetic thing for me is this speaker cover, which is fabric, and unfortunately, this fabric is a little bit too far gone to save. It's stained, and yeah, there's little holes in it, maybe from moths or something. And yeah, fortunately, this thing comes off very easily. So we can just recover it. And I thought a lot about what to recover this with. And I tried to find this exact color, but they all looked a little bit off. And then I got to thinking, there's actually pictures of a prototype TAM, and they had it covered in black fabric before they decided to, I guess, go boring and beige. How cool would it be if we recovered these things in black fabric like the original was intended, probably Johnny Ive's original idea? And not to get too ahead of ourselves, but I have a couple pretty wild ideas I want to try with this TAM. First of all, why not SATA SSD? Pretty sure we can do it. We can use an adapter, or we can use a PCI SATA controller card because this thing is a PCI Mac. I've got something for Ethernet and I've got something for USB, but there's only one PCI slot in this thing. Well, actually, the only PCI slot is on a riser card. And yeah, I found a dual PCI riser that I think would work in this thing. Although it's a little bit too tall. I don't know if we're really going to make this work, but I'm curious to see if it actually does work. And then I have a G3 processor upgrade. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, and I'm really excited about this, maybe a little too excited about this, is recloth these speakers. And I've been doing a lot of research and reading about reclothing stereo speakers, so I think it should be pretty straightforward. So the fabric is attached to these speaker covers just like it would be on a normal pair of stereo system speakers. There's no glue in the front. In fact, this fabric is loose. It's only glued on the back here, and they use some kind of tacky glue to glue all around the edge, let it set up a little bit, and then press over and stretch new fabric. All right, now to lay down a thin line of fabric glue. Alright, so while we're waiting for the glue to dry, let's crack into the TAM itself and see if we can't pull this screen out and swap it with that PowerBook. Alright, now I need to be careful of disconnecting a bunch of cables in here. Around this side we have the LCD inverter cable. And also the cable for the big beefy speakers. Around the other side here we have a flat flex cable. We have the cable for the optical drive. But we now have TAM separation. Oh good, bits of metal that fell to the bottom of the case and some broken plastic. Alright, I guess it's time to crack open this PowerBook, take the screen out, and see just how much of a drop-in replacement it really is. Alright, we have our panel free. Let's see just how compatible this is with the TAM. Alright. Honestly, this is really looking like it's a drop-in replacement. It has different shielding on it, which we'll have to remove. But the connector for the backlight and data, yeah, they're in the same exact spot. Yeah, and look at that. It really is identical. They weren't kidding when they said it was the same exact part. How convenient. And while I'm back here, I'm just going to pop the back off of this CD-ROM to see if I can't find anything obvious, like a crusty belt. Well, I found the problem. This stupid thing is torn. Probably from many years of going back and forth in here. So, yeah, well, that's annoying and almost impossible to fix. So really, I'd have to find another one of these stupid cables. Or a whole nother drive, I guess. Alright, I've got it back together, and our speaker covers are dry, and I've trimmed them down, so let's see how this looks. Oh my goodness. That looks awesome. Oh my god. That looks even better than I thought it was going to look. Wow. I don't know why they didn't leave these covered in black fabric from the factory. I don't know why they switched to the worst khaki short beige you can imagine. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness. You know, originally I thought I was going to do this black fabric as kind of a temporary thing until I could find the perfect match for the OEM fabric, but now that I'm looking at this, man, it looks awesome. I think I'm going to leave it like this. All right, let's power it on, and hopefully this screen is in good condition. That startup chime is hilarious. Oh, screen clicked on. Some schmutz on it. Happy Mac. Hey! It looks perfect. I don't see any dead pixels and no discoloration. Oh yeah, this screen is bright and crisp and clear. The colors are vibrant. Okay, so one last thing from the laptop that I'd like to swap in here, and that is the keyboard, because the keyboard from the laptop is basically brand new. It's not worn, it's not dirty, the keys are nice and crisp. Whereas the keyboard in the TAM is definitely much more used. The keys are kind of smooth from use and faded, and it's a lot squishier. So it should just be a drop-in replacement. So I will just take this thing apart. Yeah, check it out. The TAM's trackpad just comes right out. It's actually a separate peripheral. Oh, it's a little dirty in there. Yeah, but check that out. Same exact keyboard, same tabs and everything. Same exact part number too. This is literally the part from the PowerBook. Amazing. Wow, they put this in there just for weight. This is just a heavy steel plate. Yeah, because this would be extremely light without it. That's pretty funny. Oh yeah, look at that. It's a perfect fit. But yeah, here is our new, much nicer TAM keyboard. Okay, so there's one thing left to do tonight, and that is to see how well this TAM plays Wolfenstein 3D, which is, of course, my most important benchmark. Oh my goodness. Wolfenstein has never sounded this good. Oh man, this is awesome. It has never sounded this good. Oh, it's so good. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can turn the bass up even louder. Oh my god, it's so bassy now. Oh, it's amazing. Oh, it's everything you could ever want and more. Oh, this is my favorite thing in the world now. I know I say that a lot. Oh, but it's so good. Okay, so that'll do it for today's 20th anniversary Macintosh shenanigans. And, oh man, when was the last time nearly everything went right on this channel with the computer? I mean, we got the speakers recovered and they look great. We got the keyboard replaced, the screen replaced. Yeah, this thing is awesome. And honestly, I was not expecting to love this Mac as much as I do. I mean, I've always really wanted one just because they're so unique and so weird, but I always thought they were ridiculous. I mean, they are ridiculous, but in the best possible way. The only thing, you know, that we didn't get to work was the CD-ROM drive because of this stupid little broken flat flex ribbon cable. But yeah, I kind of wonder if I can make my own cable or solder little tiny wires to this, or maybe somebody has these online somewhere. Or maybe we could even hack some kind of newer optical drive in here, especially if we get SATA working. But we'll have to save that for next time, because for now, I'm on my way to the VCF East swap meet bright and early tomorrow morning. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more weird Mac shenanigans like this, please subscribe down below. And thank you very much for watching. And a special thanks to Camilla Noseda, Chris Allegretta, Chris Biggs, Chris Calderon, Chris Nelson, Cobalt Retro Tech, Control-Alt-Reese, Daniel Hubbard, Dwight A. Spencer, Greg from Rutke Mods, Paul Spencer, Ryan, Scott Thompson, and Sutek, who are my highest tiered patrons and all of my Patreon supporters for helping to make these videos possible.